I was standing in the hallway with a packed suitcase when I heard my mother's voice drift from the kitchen. She was on the phone with my aunt, her tone light, almost cheerful. "We can only manage 2 tickets, so it'll just be the three of us. Maya will understand. She's always so practical." The suitcase handle grew slick in my grip. I looked down at the bag I'd been excitedly filling for a week. A new cover-up I'd bought on clearance, hiking sandals I'd saved 2 months for. Behind me, my younger sister Chloe breezed past, a smirk playing on her lips. "Guess you heard. More legroom for me." She laughed, not unkindly, just indifferent. I was being erased from my own family vacation, and she was already calculating the benefits. I'm Maya, 19 years old, a community college student working part-time at a used bookstore. I pay for my own gas, my own phone bill, my own textbooks. I live at home because the math of rent versus minimum wage doesn't work any other way. My sister Chloe is 16 and operates under a different economic system entirely. New iPhone every year, designer sneakers, a car she rarely drives because I'm usually behind the wheel, running her to the mall or a friend's house. I don't complain. That's the role I learned. The quiet one, the helper, the one who understands. 2 weeks before the trip, the announcement came at dinner. My mother had printed itineraries, beaches, snorkeling, a luau. I'd been researching hiking trails on the Big Island, circling things I wanted to see. Then came the look, the one parents exchange when they're about to deliver news they've already decided you'll accept. "Maya, honey, we need to talk about the trip." My mother's voice was soft, rehearsed. "Flights went up. We can only afford 3 tickets now." My sister looked up from her phone. "Wait, does that mean—" She stopped when my mother held up a hand. "You, Dad, and I are still going, Chloe. Don't worry." I waited. No one said my name. Chloe shrugged and went back to scrolling. She didn't protest, didn't say it wasn't fair. She just didn't care. My father finally spoke, not meeting my eyes. "You're in college, Maya. You're busy. Chloe needs this. She's been so stressed." Chloe, a sophomore with a 2.6 GPA, stressed. I was taking 15 credits and working 25 hours a week, but sure. "I can pay for my ticket," I said quietly. "I've been saving." "It's not just the flight," my father said. "Hotels charge per person, meals add up. Just stay home. You'll have other chances." I didn't argue. I went to my room and unpacked the suitcase alone, folding everything back into drawers. The next morning, Chloe's Instagram story showed a screenshot of flight confirmations. First class. They'd upgraded her with the money they saved by cutting me out. The week before they left was a masterclass in casual cruelty. My mother asked me to pick up Chloe's new swimsuit from the mall. I had class in an hour. It wasn't on my way. I went anyway, using my gas, my time. When I got home, they were on the couch watching Hawaii travel vlogs, sharing popcorn. The TV clicked off the second I walked in. "Didn't want you to feel bad," my mother said. The pity was worse than the exclusion. At a pre-trip barbecue, my aunt asked, "So all 4 of you heading to Hawaii tomorrow?" My mother didn't hesitate. "Maya decided to sit this one out. Work and school, you know how it is." She made it my choice, my fault. I opened my mouth to correct her and met her eyes, a sharp warning look. I smiled and stayed quiet. Later, I heard her telling the neighbor, "Maya's just not a vacation person. Chloe's more spontaneous." She was rewriting history so no one would know they'd chosen her over me. The night before they left, my mother asked me to drive them to the airport. 4 a.m. Saves us $40 on parking. I should have said no. I didn't want to be difficult. So I loaded their 3 massive suitcases into my beat-up sedan, listened to Chloe complain about the early hour, and gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles blanched. At the drop-off curb, my mother gave me a distracted hug. My father handed me a 20. "For gas, maybe order a pizza while we're gone." $20 for a week of being erased. I watched them walk into the terminal, laughing, already taking selfies. I drove until I couldn't see, pulled into an empty parking lot, and cried until my chest ached. The empty house was louder than I expected. I walked past the family photos on the wall and noticed how few featured me in recent years, like I'd been slowly airbrushed out of my own life. That's when I remembered what I'd been hiding. For 6 months, I'd been saving for something bigger than a vacation. My coworker Iris had found an apartment near campus, 2 bedrooms, affordable if we split everything. I'd been holding the lease agreement in my drafts, waiting for the right moment, hoping things would somehow change, hoping they'd notice me. They left without me. That was my permission. I opened my laptop, pulled up the email, and hit send. Move-in date 3 days after they returned. I texted Iris, "I'm in." She replied instantly, "Finally, I'll bring boxes." The week they were gone, I worked double shifts and packed in the dark hours after. I took only what was mine, clothes I'd bought, books I'd paid for, my laptop, my sheets. I left the empty picture frames on my walls, a silent inventory of what they'd never given me. Every day, their Instagram stories bloomed with Chloe parasailing, my mother's captions reading, "Best family vacation, ever." I wasn't in a single photo. The day before they returned, I moved the last box. I left a letter on the kitchen counter. Not angry, just honest. I told them I stopped waiting to matter. That night, Iris and I sat on the floor of our new apartment eating popcorn and watching bad television. I didn't think about them once. They came home the next afternoon. I'd gone back for one final box. My car was in the driveway. "Maya, we're home. Come help with bags." My mother's voice, bright and demanding. I walked downstairs, box in my arms. "What's that?" she asked. "The last of my stuff. I'm moving out today." Silence. Then my father, frowning. "What are you talking about?" "I signed a lease last week. I've been moving while you were gone." My mother's face drained. "You can't just... We need to talk about this. Like we talked about Hawaii when you decided there wasn't room for me?" "That's different. We explained. You upgraded Chloe to first class. I saw the Instagram stories. You didn't even try to hide it." My father's voice turned defensive. "It was one trip." "It wasn't about the trip. It was about being erased. You lied to the family, made it sound like it was my choice. You made me drive you to the airport at 4 in the morning. You didn't even ask if I wanted to go. You just decided I didn't count." My mother's voice went cold. "If you leave like this, don't expect us to take you back." I met her eyes. "I'm not asking you to." Chloe's smirk finally dropped. "Wait, who's going to drive me to school?" "I guess you'll figure it out, like I did." I handed my mother the letter and walked out. 3 weeks later, I'm on my apartment balcony with coffee, the city humming below. Iris is inside making breakfast. My mother has called 4 times. I haven't answered. The one voicemail I heard was tight with anger. "This is ridiculous, Maya. You're tearing this family apart." No apology. I deleted it. My father texted, "Your mother's upset. You need to apologize." I blocked him too. Chloe messaged, "Everyone's mad at me now because you left. Thanks." I muted her too. I thought I'd feel guilty. I don't. I miss the idea of them, the family I wanted them to be, but for the first time in years, I feel light. Their silence doesn't hurt me. It freed me. I stopped waiting to matter to people who had already decided I didn't. And in choosing myself, I finally found the one thing they could never give me: peace.